Hi, everyone. Hey, it's Brian Grieve here, Director of Education for Z1 Concept North America. Well, welcome. Here we are. How about this? Episode 7 of our roundtable discussions with always our eminent guests. And this is no different today. We've got another superb panel of people who are going to be sharing some amazing insights to a topic that's very important in our industry. So we're very, very excited to be bringing this to you today. So from me, we're getting ready. But before we get any further in, it's always a great pleasure to introduce our co-host, my great colleague and my co-conspirator, as I call him. So let's hand it over and say hi to Gerard Caruso. Hey, Gerard.
Hey, Brian, and hello, everybody. It's really exciting to think about how many episodes that we created, Brian. Remember when we first thought about the idea of creating these Zoom things, it was like, hey, let's throw one up and see what happens. But they become such a huge success. And I'm really excited to talk about something that I personally feel is very dear to me. We have a great array of panelists here today. So without further ado, my name is Gerard Caruso. I am the creative director for Z1 Concept USA. And I'd like to just kind of pass along and let you meet the panel and where they're from. I am in the New Jersey, New York area right now. We are all filming from our homes because we are following our guidelines of being quarantined. So I'm going to pass it right down to Charlene and go to another part of the country here.
Unmute. I'm Charlene Bain. I'm an educator and a salon owner in St. Thomas, Ontario, Canada.
Wow.
Cool.
There you go. Awesome.
Who's next? Tara. What about you, Tara?
Hi, everybody. I'm Tara Carano. I am a color ambassador and an educator with Z1 Concept here in North America. And I recently went from a salon owner to a chair renter here in Connecticut.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Keep it going. Keep it going. Sarah.
Hi, my name is Sarah DeVore. I am a color ambassador and educator as well with Z1 Concept North America, but I'm also a salon owner, and I live in Peoria, Illinois, which is in the heart of the state, a little farther south than Chicago.
Cool, great, any great salon that you have there. So let's go to Felicia. Come on, Felicia.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
My name is Felicia Cardinelli. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I have been with Z1 Concept North America for about 7 years now. I am currently a color ambassador, and I'm a small business owner, salon owner, and I'm grateful that I'm here with all of you today. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, Jacqueline, you're right next door.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Lopes. I am an art team member, educator for Z1 Concept. I'm also a salon owner in Massachusetts. I'm in the western part of Massachusetts.
Nice.
Yeah, excellent. And I guess last but not least, Sharon. Hey, Sharon.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? I am Sharon Keller. I am from Prince Edward Island, Canada. And I am also a color ambassador, and I have been with Z1 Concept for 2 years now.
Wow, excellent. So, hey, there you go. Look at this great panel spread right across the continent of North America. So really, really excited to have everybody here. So without further ado, right back to Gerard. Let's set that tone, Gerard. Let's go.
All righty. You know, it's amazing to me because I'm looking across the panel right here, and I think that this is probably the best topic for the entire panel. You know, Brian, we have all of our color ambassadors and our art team members all on one Zoom, and I think it's great. Because when we think about our profession and our industry and where we stand as a whole, I think that because everybody on this panel is an educator, a salon owner, a stylist, an independent, and is involved with the manufacturer, I think it's really, really important for us to realize that each and every one of you respect the industry wholeheartedly. And I think that our topic today is going to be discussing how do we respect our industry, and is our industry getting respected in many different ways, both, you know, through state recognition of fundamentals of government recognition, through independent, even within our own salons. Are we doing the right things to be respected? Are we respecting ourselves? So those are, you know, all one major topic, and we're going to probably go around about 2 or 3 times and talk about each one separately. But I want to start it off and maybe pass it right down to Jacqueline and, talk about Massachusetts for a little bit and talk about where do you stand or how do you feel within our industry as far as, let's talk as far as fundamental. Let's talk about, do we feel that we as an industry are being respected as a profession?
There you go. That's the one.
I mean, that's a good question. Are we respected as an industry? And I would say it's, in all honesty, I would say it's split right down the middle. I mean, I think that we are respected in some ways. I think that we have so much respect from our clients or our guests that come to us in the salon. But then state-wise or like on a broader spectrum in the industry, I feel like we have been definitely cut short with that respect.
Yeah,
Well
I would have to agree with that, Brian, because what, Brian, and you and I was talking about it the other day when, when our industry was first going through all of this, and when we were affected by the situation that has placed us all in presently, they talked about many of industries. They talked about essential businesses closing. And we always heard the word essential business. And I think that was probably a confusion of whether or not salons knew to close their business, because they never referred to us. And when you think about us as an industry, we touch people's lives on a day-to-day basis. We are involved with them from the time that they, are born to the time they get married or get engaged and build a family and build a life. We act as psychologists, not only as colorists and cutters and stylists, but we act as psychologists. And I never, and maybe somebody could correct me, and I'm going to pass it over to Sarah in a minute, because she's in the Chicago area, but maybe somebody could correct me, but I don't ever remember them saying until the very end, when they were starting to force us to close, did they ever mention beauty salons or spas? No, they kept utilizing the word essential businesses and then claimed us as to be essential or non-essential. Mm-hmm. And I think that confused us as an industry. How did you deal with that in Chicago, Sarah?
They still haven't said hair salons in the state of Illinois. It's almost like hush hush, like
a taboo.
Yeah. So for a while, like when they first started closing things down, it was like, are we closing? Are we not? Luckily, the community that I live in I live in a small community, so they were very great about telling us, like, no, you don't qualify as an essential business. Like, you do have to shut down. Like, so I felt like I had a lot of support that way. But still in the state, when they talk about it, unless a question is directly asked from a reporter, nothing is mentioned about hair salons. So it's kind of a guessing game, You really have to do your research to figure out where your business falls in that.
Right. I think you hit that nail right on the head, Sarah, because you know what? It was a guessing game. And it was a guessing game when salons were closing, and some were really holding on to the last minute. They were holding on the limb of that tree of when they were going to close. But what about over in Buffalo, Felicia? How did that situation arise there? Did you feel that the state acknowledged it as a business? Or were they just throwing a slump in there? Because they talked about pizzerias, they talked about restaurants, they talked about supermarkets, they talked about pharmaceuticals, gyms, they even talked about workout gyms. But I never, ever heard the word beauty industry.
Yeah, that actually happened like at the last minute to me, it seems. Fortunately for me, I have been graced with a really great intuition. And I kind of saw it coming down the line with the reports from the medical community. And I actually am right up the street from the Buffalo Medical Campus. And I have a lot of clients that work there. And I am very blessed that they were open and honest with me and gave me information and taught me how to handle my situation as a salon owner. And I actually closed before the governor called it. I closed before my county executive did it, and I based it on the amount of cleaning products, disinfectants, face
Right.
masks, gloves. And I knew that there was a moment that I can't wait for my state to give me the go-ahead. I chose to do it ahead of time. And I called my friends in the business and told them, like, this is coming. I think it would be really great if you protected yourself and your clients and your families and got on it ahead of time. And honestly, I think that's saved me and probably other people's exposure.
And I think that's what happened in the industry across the board. So stylists were calling other stylists, salons were calling other stylists. Why don't we shoot over to Canada? You know, I'd like to hear from Sharon, you know, how, and I think that you're in a small section of Canada, right? Or
Yep.
I don't want to say remote because it's not remote area, but every time we try to, we transfer anything to each other.
I have to drive to the Starbucks to do it.
You have to drive to Starbucks. And it's kind of following. So I'm going to pass it right over to Sharon. And then from Sharon, I want to go over to Charlene because they're on opposite ends of Canada.
Well, for us here as stylists, we were actually really lucky. And in my province alone, we're still very much on the lucky side of things where all of this is concerned because our cases are extremely low because we are an island. We can kind of completely shut ourselves off. So we're lucky there. However, salons were shut down a month ago here. So we were one of the first businesses to be completely shut down. According to our government, it was to protect our clients, but also to protect us as stylists because there's no way we can stay within any of the standards that they put up for social distancing. So I consider myself and the stylists here very, very lucky because they put that forth and then within a short amount of time there were supports to help us. So
right.
Yeah, I'm moving into week 5 of being here doing nothing.
No, you've been doing a lot. You have been doing a lot.
I make work for myself.
And I think that the rest of the industry out there is good. You know, they'll see your face on some of our education out there. In fact, everybody that's on this panel has been involved with education. Charlene, what about over you? Because you're fairly close to Toronto, correct?
I'm about 2 hours away from Toronto.
Okay.
And it's been pretty good in our area. I myself, much like Felicia, I closed down before it was mandated. The word hairdresser, salon, barber, anything like that came out of our government's mouth a little bit later as well. You know, I think our clients beg to differ that we are an essential service, but I understand what they mean by the term.
Applaud that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bravo.
Getting a lot of show your roots pictures.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I chose to close down myself on St. Patrick's Day, actually. So this is, you know, week 5 for me as well. And I chose to close ahead of time simply because of what I was hearing in the news and what I was seeing. And I felt myself in the salon that I was getting antsy when I was seeing people. If they had the remote little sniffle, I was like, oh gosh, you know, and I'm always wiping everything down anyway, but I just started to get unnerved. So I closed it down a little bit early myself.
Good.
Cool.
Good for you.
And what about Tara?
Tara, yeah.
So for me, in Connecticut, we're about an hour and a half away from New York. We have been closed for 5 weeks and 1 day exactly. We had gotten an email. I was actually in the salon, somewhat on a reduced schedule because, again, much like everybody else, I kind of saw this coming. And I kind of reduced my own schedule just so there wasn't as many people in the salon at the same time. We got an email in the middle of the day, and it was a clear, concise email that we were to cease immediately and indefinitely. You know, I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. I know a lot of people closed early, but from what I'm hearing from everybody else, we here in Connecticut, at least where I am, we were like one of the first people to shut down. Some people are saying, you know, we've been shut down for a month or 3 weeks. We've literally been at least 5 weeks now. So I don't know. I can't wait to work.
Well, I mean, the message that's coming out from each of you, and I think it's you know, very warming, is that you took the initiative. And I know I can speak not on behalf of Gerard, but with him, because obviously we're colleagues together, and he chose to close his salon earlier than before it was mandated, if I remember rightly, Gerard. And
Yes.
I thought that was a very wise decision. we're such an up close and personal industry. It was impossible to meet any of the guidelines. So that was always going to be the one. If I can chime in just quickly, and then I'll pass it back to Gerard, and we'll keep it moving on. It always astounds me, and I'll keep it very word correct, hopefully, that our industry is one of the most buoyant of really all industries, one of the most happy industries. We generate a huge amount of revenue that goes into lots of systems, and yet we're really at the bottom of the pile when it comes to being mentioned and recognized and respected. So I think Gerard and myself, especially with Gerard raising the topic, we're right on point here. We need to have a stronger voice so that we're recognized, so that, you know, institutionalized situations do recognize us as a proper professional business. And we train forever. I always had this saying, I would say, we're in the same league as doctors and dentists because we train forever. We're always learning. We're doing it right now. Look, we have an amazing group of people that want to be part of this, to share, you know, our feelings, if you like, and but also our care for our industry. So thank you for giving me that moment. I don't tend to speak so much on the Zooms, but right back to Gerard. I just needed that moment. I felt the passion coming out of my body there. So,
You know,
Gerard,
Brian, I applaud you on that, because I really think that it's important the way you described our industry, because our industry is so that we are respected amongst each other, or are we? That's another question that we're going to talk about in a minute. But I want to go real quick around the table, because, and I want to talk about this topic here, because, you know, and I've mentioned it before, and as well as Brian and I, you know, I'm probably speaking more to him each day than he speaks to his wife, and he's quarantined with her right now. But it's funny because I am on a couple of different chat rooms, and been on different Zooms with different colleagues and artists in the entire profession. And, you know, the breaking news today, and I don't know if anybody's heard about this. I know here, I don't know about in Canada right now, but I can only speak for up here in this part of North America, in the US, that the PPP loans have just ran out. Okay, so PPP loan was designated to help provide small businesses. And I think that was a big question too, the definition of a small business. And maybe because it's my profession and my industry, I took that to heart as, okay, well, here's an avenue. Small businesses are probably what make up, and I think that we can all agree with this, 85%, you know, at least 85% of the revenue in the country. You know, all of our small businesses. And now, you know, they do classify small businesses of employing under 500 employees. But what about those small businesses that employ under 50 employees? What about us? Okay, what about us that are running salons that have 5, 8, 6 employees? Do they not count? Do they not deserve what they've been paying into their whole life? Do we not want to support them and have them put food on their tables as well? You know, I've heard about all this support and all this applause going on for, and I'm Italian and I love it, but pizzerias and restaurants and supermarkets and other avenues in that aspect. You know, please support your local restaurant, buy gift certificates, and nobody other than the hairdresser industry. And I think that's why we're so close as an industry, have supported each other by Facebook Live and asked people not to color their hair. And some of our guests have supported us by buying gift certificates. But was that ever brought out nationally? Never was discussed, right? So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about the difficulties of people trying to get on unemployment, the stimulus package and the program that some people have not got. God bless the ones that have gotten it. The PPP loans that as of now are no longer available because they ran out of money. Okay? And look at all the money that they printed. And that was a question that I used to have with Brian, like, where's that money coming from? Do they just print it?
Okay.
Sharon, your input on it. as far as, you know, in Canada, the availabilities that were given to salons and salon owners and small businesses and hairstylists and independents, most of all, because I think that our industry has become a very big independent market today, small businesses.
Yeah. I'm not, well, I believe in Canada, like the small businesses have actually been treated, and Shar, you can chime in with me if you want to, but I feel like we have been treated fairly well so far. There is one like full Canadian benefit called CURB, and it has been rolling out fairly seamlessly as far as I can tell, for those who are now currently unemployed or earning like under $1,000 a month that are eligible. And then on top of that, kind of like every province here has their own benefit packages that they're rolling out. And on PEI, Prince Edward Island might be a bit of a different beast in itself, because we are nothing but small independent businesses. I mean, our shopping mall has an H&M and a Winners, and like we don't have huge shopping malls like you guys have. Our island is.
Starbucks? Does it have a Starbucks?
We do have Starbucks.
Well, then
because I have to park there to send you
H&M,
files.
Starbucks, and
Remember, that's where she gets her wee transfers.
But yeah, that's how I do my wee transfers. But in all honesty, we truly are a province of independent people. So on Prince Edward Island, we have been very fortunate to have a lot of initiatives rolled out and grants rolled out, and just packages for business betterment while this is all happening. So Shar, Canadian, like keeping it. Oh, I'm not supposed to throw it to people. Sorry.
That's fine.
No, you're fine, but that's perfect.
No,
Let's
it's
get
fine.
Charlene's take on that.
Yeah, very similar here in Ontario. So our government has rolled out the CERB, like Sharon was saying, which is Canadian Emergency Response Benefit. And pretty much everyone, you apply for that and you have it within a couple of days. And that has really, really helped people. We do have the option to apply for unemployment to kind of, you know, go in after the CERB runs out. But again, being an independent hairdresser, we don't pay into unemployment normally. So it's definitely a lot of digging. Like you spend a lot of time on the internet trying to find out what you're supposed to be applying for and when. We have a lot of small business in my area as well. There are definitely some larger salons, but the majority of our hair salons are smaller. Like I'm talking 5 people or less. And I think it's actually going to be almost easier for the smaller salons to be up and running more than it will be for the bigger salons, because they have huge overheads and huge rent payments and things. And it's going to be it's scary how it's going, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it rolls out. But our government has definitely stepped up and been helping.
That sounds that's kind of positive from both your angles, which is great. Let's bring it over to Jacqueline and get her perspective as a salon owner. What's been happening for you, Jacqueline?
I think I'm going to move to Canada.
Perfect.
Honestly, because I feel I haven't really had any help. I have, so I'm an independent and a business owner. And I have a great accountant. Thankfully, I've been able to reach out to my accountant, and he's guided me in the right direction to fill out paperwork, PPP loans, and then there was another like $10,000 grant that I was able to fill out for myself and my business. I have received 0 feedback, 0 emails. I've called, I've done everything I can, and I've received nothing. But my heart goes out to the other stylists that, you know, I don't have a significant other. I'm married. I have a husband, and he's essential. So we're still generating an income. We can still live and get by. But if I was alone, I mean, I would have no income. They keep saying in Massachusetts, because in the United States, it's different state to state, as we know, right? In Massachusetts, they're supposedly coming out with this thing called the CARES Act. that will help the self-employed and small business owners. But it's been 4.5 weeks since they've shut us down, us non-essential businesses who are small business owners, and there is still there's still word of it, but nothing that has really come to fruition.
Wow. Well, Jacqueline, thanks for sharing that. I'll tell you what, Gerard, it's a real reality check, isn't it? When you're listening to the team like this, it's just like, wow. I mean, the craziness around the country, and well, thankfully, Canada at least has got something going on. So good for them. Praise to the powers that be there. So what about Sarah? You come in on this now.
Oh, well, I also am going to move to Canada. Sharon has a nice place we can stay in. So for us here, it has been a struggle too. So my state, the state of Illinois, has said that they have done all these things for small businesses, but none that none that are useful to me. There is like a downstate thing for those of us that live in more rural areas instead of Chicago. I don't qualify for that because my business hasn't been open long enough, which seems kind of crazy.
Really?
There is a grant out specifically if you're a bar or restaurant, so I don't qualify for that either. All of my stylists and those of us that own it have applied for unemployment, and we can't get through. Now the state of Illinois is also asking us not to contact unemployment. They'll contact us when they can help us with unemployment, as well as the federal grant, that the additional $600 that we're all supposed to be qualified for. My small business, so like the SBA loans, the PPP, we just now as an independent contractor, we're available to obtain that on Friday. So I've been working with the banker, but now they are out of funds, but he is still trying to move forward to get it for us. So even though we didn't qualify for the PPP until Friday, they've given it to larger businesses. And so now those of us who actually are a small business are not, there are no funds there to help us. So I too am lucky that I have a really great accountant that has helped us, prepare for emergencies. So it's been okay. And I also am very fortunate that my husband does have an essential job. So without it, I don't know where we would be.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Brian, it's funny because we've all mentioned, and then I really love to hear Tara's input on it, but we've all mentioned about the PPP loans. I was just jotting some things down real quickly, and then maybe Tara can pick up off of one of those. But we talk about the CARES Act, we talk about the SBA loans, we talked about the unemployment, of course, in Canada, Surge, you said in Canada? It's called Surge?
Curb.
Sorry. Apologies. Curb. But we talk about, the state possibilities of them implementing some of these loans, the $10,000, I think it was the EIL loan or whatever that was. It was also through the SBA. There was a $10,000 grant, which I may add, and I'm going to add this in, and in defense of the federal government and in defense of the state and defense of unemployment and everything, this is new to them too. So I'm sure, there was probably not an afterthought before they blurred everything out there. And then things started changing. Do you know what I mean? Like that $10,000 grant was something that you would apply for and you would get, and also the PBA through donations for each and every stylist out there, you had a possibility of also applying for that $500 lottery loan it was a grant that they would give you. So trust me, as a business owner, as a salon owner, not just what I do for Z1, I looked for everything because my main concern are my employees, okay? I'll get by and I'll take care of what I have to take care of. But my main concern was to get everything up and running for them. And the only reason why I applied for the PPP loan was to get them guaranteed salary for when they do come back to work, because that's the smart way to do that PPP loan. Now, there is no more PPP loan unless they replenish that. But what I find funny is like that $10,000 grant. You hear about all these grants. That's all I've been hearing, a grant here. Go apply for the grant, do the grant, do the grant, do this grant. Well, where are they? What grants?
Who's got them?
Who's got them?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
I'd like somebody to grant me.
Yeah.
But if you really looked in deep into that grant that they put out there, and I'm not being ungrateful, I'm very grateful that they were trying to create something. But it started off with a $10,000 grant to get your business up and running, and it would be forgiven because you would utilize it to bring everybody back, blah, 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 blah. Well, I had gotten a notice back on that. It's actually $1,000 per employee. So it wasn't a $10,000 grant. So if you had 4 employees, you got $4,000. If you have 5 employees, you got $5,000, up to $10,000. So to whoever mentioned it before, those big salons, a friend of mine, Brian, you met him, Sal from Philadelphia, has got 21 employees. Okay, but he would only be able to get that grant up to $10,000. So it's kind of confusion. I don't know if you could shed any light on it as well, Tara, on some of the opportunities that you were told were out there, but were they available to you?
So I don't usually feel like Connecticut is small business friendly for many reasons that are way off topic. However, I actually spoke to a local news station yesterday regarding this. So like I said, we were closed down 5 weeks ago, and there were so many rumors of this PPP loan and this SBA this and a file for unemployment, and then unemployment is so many weeks behind, so file again. And then, oh wait, if you're a freelancer, 1099 or small business, you can't file. So I started, Googling everything I possibly could in trying to find information. And in doing that, even the information that, directly from some of these websites here in Connecticut, it was also just confusing. There was a lot of confusion. And Gerard, I agree with you. I think that it's uncharted territory and they're doing the best that they can, but something else needs to be done. Here in Connecticut, we were one of the first people to shut down, and I am one of the last people that will see any kind of relief. I'm in New York. It's just me. 5 weeks with no pay is detrimental to me. And I'm proactive, and I've called creditors and whatnot, and certain things are just not excused. And finally, it came down to a point where I started contacting local news agencies and asking for their help and saying, look, maybe you can call certain government officials or whatever and get definitive answers. And it actually worked. And yesterday, I actually got an interview with one of the news stations. And as of today, I got an email from unemployment. So if it is something that
good for you.
Good for you. Good for you. And you know what, Brian, exactly what Tara is talking about, which is going to lead me right into the next one. And then I'm going to flip the tables. I know that we're probably going to go a little bit overtime what we wanted to, but I think it's such an important topic. I think, if we do go over a couple minutes, it'll be fine.
Okay.
But Tara, exactly what you're saying about you reached out to your, town news or whatever, or that's what we need to do as an industry. That's exactly what we need to do. Get your newscasters involved, get your local politicians involved, say to them, what do I need to do? PBA is a great source to be involved with, the Professional Beauty Association, because they are involved in all that, because we need more lobbying in Washington. We need, well, for the US, I don't know how they do it in Canada. We need people to stand up for us and say, hey, we are a profession. We went to school to be licensed. We are being, through State Board of Cosmetology, checked on from time to time. We have to maintain our license. Why are we paying for a license if it's so open-ended like this? And it's crazy. And again, I agree with Tara that, the government is doing whatever they can, but do they know our industry? Most importantly, I'm going to end this one topic. Do they respect our industry? Because you know what? There's a lot of our guests out there that do respect our industry.
Sure.
Now, I'm going to actually flip the table here, Brian.
Hang on.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I don't ever want anybody to feel that they've missed out. I don't believe that Felicia has given us our input on this particular round. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Right. So Gerard, let's hear from Felicia, and then we'll have Gerard flip the table round. Okay? Is that cool? Thank you.
No, I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Not just going right into it.
So serious. Okay, Felicia, put some light on it there. So anyway, tell us what what you've challenged with, or what have you found out? What's worked for you?
Well, I have a wide network of friends and family here in Buffalo, thankfully. And there were lots of phone calls and a ton of Google searches and contacting the labor department. And somehow I have managed to qualify for unemployment. And after that, I was sent a link to apply for another like one-time kind of thing, allowance or something. I received my $1,200 check or whatever. And I think the reason why my process has been expedited is that I filed and put in my taxes for 2019 very early on in the process. So because I have a profile with the state of New York, thanks to Tara, thank you. That's a whole nother story. Because I filed my taxes in a timely manner and I file my quarterlies in a timely manner, I'm already in the system and I'm very proactive when it comes to finances and stuff. So for me, I just followed all the instructions and the programs that were given out. Now, mind you, I have been on the telephone and on the computer for hours, sitting here in my empty salon, screaming at Jesus, praying that I could get some help. And it's come, and I'm very grateful. And when money does come rolling in, I will be doing what I do, and I will be helping my friends and family financially, and that's what I'm going to do.
Good.
Wait, Felicia, let me ask you real quick, because you mentioned something, and I kind of jotted it down when you mentioned it, because we talked about the different opportunities for people to go out to, whether it be the PBA, the state, the government, federal, the SBAs, the loans, and you mentioned something else, and I don't know if it was connected to one of these, but you mentioned there was a link that you went to that enabled you to get a one-time payment or something. Is that something you could share with all the stylists out there? You know, what is that link? Is that in addition to everything else that you are aware of?
Well, when you apply to unemployment in the state of New York, there is another program that's available. It's the PUA. It's called the PUA, and you can only apply to it if you have gone through the application process for unemployment and you have been accepted. Not every salon owner or stylist or independent gets accepted into the program. And I think a lot of the acceptance is based on, number one, whether or not you have a profile with your state already set up as a citizen of your state, which I do. And number two, filing your taxes on a regular basis and having a profile established with that.
And that's a perfect leeway into this next topic that I want to go through real quickly and flip the tables on. But I just want to give a shout out there to everybody and every stylist that is watching. If you have applied for your unemployment and you were accepted, everyone, check, go online, search it, Google it, go to unemployment, do whatever you can, and look for the PUA assistance. Something that Felicia was able to touch base on. Go ahead, Felicia.
What I wanted to say is that after you apply for unemployment in the state of New York, when they go through like your acceptance and your emails and everything, you have to be very diligent in checking your emails literally every single hour, because they are sending updates in the state of New York at very random times, because the employees of the state of New York who are helping to manage the situation, there are thousands of them, and these people are working from the early hours. I got a phone call at 10 o'clock at night, and it scared me to 7 shades of white. And I had no idea what was happening. And I thought I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was being scammed. And this person was telling me, I was like, why are you calling so late at night? And he said, we have millions of people that need help, and you're my last call of the evening. And of course, Felicia's crying. And then he said, please make sure that you check your emails, check your spam folders, make sure that your profile is filled out with the state online, make sure you are registered for everything you possibly can register, We will be sending you links and future questionnaires. And he said the process is not going to be easy, but you have to be as diligent as possible, checking all of your emails and going online and on the phone and calling. He's like, you have to be diligent.
Okay. All right. So
Great.
once again,
Thank you.
everybody, every side that's
All right.
out there that is listening, PUA. Felicia is talking about the state of New York, but I would go onto your state. Doesn't matter if you're from Boston, New Jersey, Chicago, wherever. Go to your state unemployment. And if you have, like Felicia said, have applied for unemployment and have been accepted, you have a claim out there, then if you have that, then evidently you are a U.S. citizen. So apply or search, Google, do whatever you can for the PUA loan. Sound good,
Great.
everybody out there? Cool.
I want to
Thank
add one more thing. I'm really sorry. My friend Tara helped me to set up a profile with the Department of Motor Vehicles of the state of New York. And that is probably what saved me, because I already had a profile created with the state. And when you have that set up, whether it's for yourself or as a business owner, and your licensing is on the state of New York, for me especially, and you have a profile created, when you apply for paperwork and loans and whatever, your process goes faster.
All right.
Have a profile federally and state.
Cool.
Big shout,
All right.
big shout out to Tara.
Yeah,
Tara,
but
thank you
I don't
for-
want anybody starting to email Tara. Don't bombard her. She's not an accountant. So
All right,
please,
Gerard, let's get
you
on
know,
to that. Let's get to
She
that.
just, 1 minute, Brian.
Okay.
She just offered that information out. So definitely PUA loan connected through your unemployment once you have filed your claim and been approved of it. So,
Cool.
well, here's the flip side of that. Here's where we're going to turn the tables and flip everything around, because we probably went on even the whole full time of what we're talking about. So we're going to have to kind of summarize something up here. We talked about basically what we were looking for from our governments, from our states, from our local avenues, unemployment and things like that. You know, we kind of went through different avenues and whether we were receiving it or not. Are they respecting us? And I think the key word is the big O R, respect. You know what I mean? Here's what I have to ask everybody right now. What are we doing in our industry to earn that respect? Are we respecting each other? Are we respecting our businesses? Are we up there conducting our businesses and making everybody know that this is, and this is not to put anybody down in any way, shape, or form, because, you know, listen, you know, regardless of what we feel about the governmental industry here, because it's, to me, the government is an industry, whether what we feel about them, we have to do our due diligence and register our businesses and pay our taxes and claim tips and stop doing things underhandedly. You know, what is our self-worth in this? So, Tara, you want to lead us off on that? You know, where do you stand with us as an industry? Do you feel that there are things that we can do to earn our respect in the industry, and things that we can do, continue to do, or stop doing?
I 100% think that there is definite things that we can do. You know, first and foremost for me, even when I owned a salon and I would get students out of school or students in school who were kind of apprenticing, the first thing I would say to them is, are you a member of the Professional Beauty Association? PBA is such a wealth of information. You know, there's so much education on the site, even as far as just, you know, in helping us file like these forms for unemployment and whatnot. There's so much information. I became a state captain with PBA for the state of Connecticut years ago, and I am extremely interested in, you know, making sure that my voice in this industry is heard in this state. You know, there's just so many different avenues that you can go down to do that. You know, and even in the salon, and even now, you know, I get clients who, I'm sure we all do, who are asking us to come to their houses and do their hair, and there's all these crazy things that they want us to do. And I always say, you know, if you have a house, you put a fence around your house, because it keeps the good in and it keeps the bad out. And it's all about boundaries. You know, so as a professional in this industry, I feel it's important to set boundaries, especially with clients, and set boundaries just for myself. You know, I grew up with a mother who would always say, conduct yourself how, you know, I would want to view you. And it's stuck in my head. And I try to conduct myself professionally all the time. And by doing that, like I said, PBA for me is huge. I think it is so important. It's so important to know, you know, who your government officials are in your state. You know, jot down numbers. You know, who saw this coming? No one. But I have a whole, you know, informational thing about who is on the news and who broadcasts about certain things as far as stuff like this in our state. You know, follow them on social media. There's just so many different things you can do so that when something like this happens, you do have some sort of an outlet.
Good. Wow. Very well said. Excellent. I think you're inspiring a lot of people there, Tara, with that. I'm going to connect you with a friend of mine who actually lives in Connecticut and a hair salon owner. She's going to love what you're saying. So that's that's already inspired me to trigger. All right, Jacqueline, come on. Where are you on this?
Well, I think what Tara said was awesome. And like me personally, I've done things with the local news. We have a contract with them, and I've done interviews with them and have put things out there to help support other stylists. And I think boundaries, I mean, that speaks so loud to me, because in our industry, we're so close with our clients, and sometimes those boundaries can get blurred, you know? So you have to figure out what your boundaries are and stick with them, you know? And with these circumstances, it's, you know, and now it's the law, you know, and you have to abide by the law, and those need to kind of be your boundaries. Otherwise you can get penalized, and you can, you know, potentially be in trouble because of it. But yeah, and then I think the biggest thing too is respecting each other and not pointing our fingers at one another or judging each other, but respecting each other and helping to support each other and build each other up to get through these difficult times. I think it's very important also.
Yeah, good. Nice one, Jacqueline. Well said, because I think that's very, I know Gerard will agree with this. Absolutely. And we've got to stay strong together when we respect each other and we all stay as one force, that's when we gain more respect and we have more strength. There's no doubt. It's when we fragment off because we think we're cool and we start doing stuff, whatever that is, that's what weakens us. And then it's like we're not respected as much. So Jacqueline, thanks for that. So let's do Sarah, and then we'll go to, well, wherever. I was going to say Canada, but then I'm thinking, hang on, we've got Felicia there as well. So Sarah, tell us your story.
I feel like I just want to help our industry have more self-confidence. Like, I find that when we are not, like, when we're not confident, like, is anyone asking their dentist to clean their teeth right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one's doing that. Like, why do we look at them on a different professional level than we look at hairdressers? Like, have the confidence to know that your license comes from the same place as a nurse, a lawyer, a doctor. You know, like, you are a professional. Don't bring yourself down. Have the self-confidence to stand up for what you believe. And we are educated. We are knowledgeable. Like, we try really hard, like, have the self-confidence to know what our profession is in our industry, and that you have people like us here, like, in your corner. Like, I'll back you up, girl. Like,
you know what? It's funny, Sarah, because you know, you're talking about the self-confidence, and that's what we provide for our guests. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like that old saying: when your feet hurt, your whole body hurts. But when your hair and your makeup and everything looks good, and you talk to your stylist and you relieve some stress, you know, sometimes our guests come in to the salon look like this with their shoulders down, and after they talk to us and we beautified them and fixed their hair, they're like, we lifted them up. We provided that confidence. Good job.
Love that.
How about Charlene and, oh, sorry, Brian, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm all empowered with this as well, because you're such a brilliant group. No, I mean, each of you, when you're coming on, you're speaking very, you know, like.
Passionately.
That's a good word. Thank you. You got a great word out there. Go ahead.
Can I add one thing to that? I agree with you. Like, we do provide our guests with self-confidence, you know, but what I've been trying to do is, like, in this time, like, I think you can still help your client feel good about themselves, right? Like, we, you know, Jacqueline said, we have such a great relationship with them. Like, FaceTime with them, or, you know, do
Yeah.
a Zoom call with them. I'm rocking roots and double eyebrows too. Like, I am telling them that, you know, like, I'm right here with you. Like, you look beautiful. You look
Yeah, no, I mean, that's that. Sorry, and just to close out with that, and we'll pass it over to Charlene, is I love the empowerment of the way each of you are speaking. You are spokespersons for your industry. And so you had it anyway, but you've reinforced my respect for each of you. I mean, I need to give that to you personally. I'm sure I can speak for and with Gerard on that as well. And that it's very empowering. So keep up the good work. Keep that strength, because it's going to feed out, and lots of people are going to be inspired by this round table. So Charlene.
Yeah, I'd love to just build on what Sarah was saying, that honestly, everything for me starts with self-respect. And you have to respect yourself and your profession and your education itself before you can portray that to your clients. And really just understanding your own self-worth, your industry's worth, and talking proudly of it. I know that, you know, hairdressing has really gone through a gamut of, you know, it used to be, well, if you can't do anything else, you can always go do hair, you know.
Exactly.
And it's become so much more than that now. And I think that's a great analogy that Sarah used. You know, is anyone calling their dentist right now? I often, you know, to your point too, Brian, earlier when you were talking about the doctor, I'm so big on education, and I'm always telling people, you know, more education, more education. And I say, if you went to a doctor, would you want the one who graduated in 1975 and that was it? Or would you want the one who graduated in 75 and then has a whole bunch more courses under his belt that he's taken? And it's the same with hair. I mean, if you're passionate and you're serious about this industry, you want to get the best you possibly can, and you want to give the best you possibly can. So I think really connecting yourself, to everyone's point, connecting yourself with the proper people, and those positive and the ones who want to build up the industry, rather than going to, you know, maybe groups who are just complaining about this, that, and the other. Really align yourself with the proper people, and those that are going to grow yourself and grow your business and your industry.
Excellent. Very good. Surround yourself with positive people. You can't lose. Sharon.
Well, I mean, everybody's already said like all of the amazing things. So I guess my 2 cents on it, just to build on what everybody else is saying, is that as an industry, yes, we all work for ourselves. The people in our chairs are the ones who wind up like paying our rents. Do you know what I mean? So we are in an industry that is rather competitive amongst ourselves. However, none of us are going to get anywhere without teamwork and everybody else being lifted up. And if we respect other stylists and know that no matter who you are, the person across the room, or the person, even like the person at like the quick run through hair salons, there's somebody in any one of those salons that can teach you something that you don't know.
Amen.
Right?
Amen to that.
There's always going to be something that you can learn. So my thing is, and I say it when I teach sometimes, is like, if you want to go far, you go alone. Or no, it's if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So as an industry, if we want respect, we have to be there to lift everybody up. To throw it back on and up, like a kind of total upside down from what Charlene was saying, if we want to garner respect from the higher ups and everybody around us, it's on us. It's the dialogue we use. It's how we speak. It's elevating the things that we say to make us sound as intellectual as we actually are. As hairstylists, we are scientists and we are mathematicians, and we read a color wheel. We know the science behind that. So we have to use the dialogue that makes us sound as smart as we are. Instead of saying bleach, we say a pre-lightener, or instead of saying, like, it's the words we use in the salon that make our clients realize how smart we are. And our clients are people that go out into the world and are like, oh my gosh, do you know what my hairstylist said to me today? She taught me why I can't do this color through the science of why she can't do that color.
There you go. Excellent. Very good. Well said, Sharon. That
very
was
good.
really great. That was really awesome. So, well, let's hand it over to Felicia, and then we'll go back to Gerard. He can do a little summing up, and then we'll close this one out. Okay.
What's that sigh of relief?
I think about
we're all waiting there.
I think about this all the time, and I talk about this all the time with my friends and with my clients. I feel that the educational process for stylists needs to change today. I feel that when young people have the option of going into a technical trade like ours, I feel like it should be their first choice instead of their last choice. As a second generation stylist, I learned some unbelievably valuable things from my mother. And the one thing that she taught me was that if you want to know what's going on in the world around you, you have to seek education first. You have to make it a priority every single day. You have to go to those people that are in charge and you have to tell them you want more, you expect more, and you need more to help yourself succeed. And not only education for children in high school, I feel that cosmetology should be turned into a 2-year program across the board, across North America, because it needs to be a twofold approach. The first way as a cosmetologist, and the second way as a business owner. Mm-hmm. Because even though you're a commissioned employee, an hourly,
you're a business owner,
you're a renter, you're an owner, that needs to be taught from the bottom to the top, from cleaning toilets to talking to an accountant. I think our industry needs to grow up. I think it's the time. We have the technology. I feel that the representation that we're getting as an industry is subpar, and I think it's up to us now to take control and to make it happen, because it's now. And I think with what we're all experiencing as a whole, with there's no money, there's this isn't coming in, this isn't happening, it's on us now. It's our responsibility, and we have got to start screaming it from the rooftops and tell them we want to be represented, because we are a $1 billion industry and we making it happen every day.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Wow, Felicia. Wow. No,
can I say one thing, Brian?
Sure.
Just to, like, on what Felicia said, I find this whole conversation right now is like so funny, because if you look on Facebook or any other social media right now, nobody out there is putting out memes about where is my dentist. Nobody's putting out memes about where is my this, where is my that. It's, I want my hairdresser. And we're so low, and yet everybody wants us, and everybody needs us.
There you go.
Right?
And we are a trade.
Of course we are. Well, Felicia summed it up there. Thank you. That was brilliant. All of you. But anyway, let's pass it over to Gerard.
I didn't cry.
Not yet.
But I do think that we all need to realize one thing. You know, we talk about, you know, and I think in this whole conversation that we did have, and, you know, it was amazing because I looked over at the clock and we're like, wow, we did go over, but I think it was so
It's okay.
well needed. But most importantly, I just want to share, we talked about everything as far as how the government recognize us as an industry, or our state locals recognize us as an industry. How do other professions look at us as an industry? We are an industry. We, as an industry, each and every one of us need to stand up, be proud of what you're doing. And like Felicia said, it's not a secondary choice, because there are a lot of people out there that are primary. It was their primary choice. I chose to want to do this, and I chose to want to be part of this industry and grow in the industry and be the betterment for the industry. But I think what's really, really important for us to realize is we are creative people. The creativeness is there. Be better business people. Be smarter. You want to be recognized in the industry, then follow what businesses do in the industry. Don't let anybody downplay it. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's stop doing the underhanded things to get us by. You know, yes, all through Facebook and Instagram, We learn, we teach, we invest in ourselves day to day. You know, we have people that are looking for us and asking for us. Don't give in. I think some of us have given in into the industry. Do you know what I mean? We allow people to disrespect us because, and I'm not putting anybody down, you know, and I get it. Your formulas that you've created to create colors, they're yours. You created them. Like we said, we're chemists, we're number people. We put things together. You created them. You know what I mean? Does Rachel Ray or every other baker out there or Emerald just give away all his recipes? No. Why are we giving them away? Why are we encouraging people to do the color at home? Why are we sneaking them in through the back doors? Why are we doing all that? Stop. Because the more we do that, the more people are going to think that they can continuously get away with things. And we need to realize we are one for all for one. And I think that that saying that I think, was it Charlene that said it, you know, or Sharon, you said it, that, you know, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to, you know, go far, go with a group. It was you, Sharon, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, great statement. You know what? We are underestimating the power that we have within our industry. Let's stop underestimating it. Let's take Tara's advice. Call your local news channels. Call your local officials. Let's take Felicia. Let's take Felicia's advice. You know, check into all these things. Google everything. Search it. The PUA loans, all of that. You know, let's really dig down deep and realize, be part of your, you know, congressman's agenda, whatever they have in the area. I think that, you know, your best thing is to start with the congressman and go to the mayors and the governors. And, you know, if you can get involved with that, you know, I applaud Tara for being part of the PBA. And I agree with her 100%. If you are not, every stylist out there, if you are not a member of the PBA, join it. Join it, learn about the industry. So I think we did a great job. I applaud each and every one of you, you know, for standing up and for what we talked about and covering the different things. It's how do we respect our industry? How do we get respect? I think, but first and foremost, before we can ask other people to respect our industry, we need to respect our own industry. We need to respect ourselves. And somebody sent me a text this morning and an email and said, hey, check out this site. It's talking about what is your worth. Let's realize what our worth is, respect our industry. I love each and every one of you, and I love every hairdresser out there that is watching this. And God, this whole thing made me so emotional and so passionate today.
Good job, everybody. There you go. Well, there you go. Thanks, Gerard. And wow, yep, I'm listening intently. That passion that just came out of Gerard as well. So I think that's really the word that encompasses everything for me that happened in this last hour. Yeah, Gerard said we've run a little over.
Probably one of the longest ones we've done, right?
Yeah, how could we stop it? I mean, you don't stop passion, you let it flow. And each of you're magnificent. You brought really, really great, you know, feelings to the table, great, amazing information and insight, which I'm sure is going to help many, many stylists out there. So again, like Gerard said, applause to all of you, and thank you so much for you know, all the elements that were brought to the table, and I'm sure each of you have enjoyed it also. So on behalf of Z1 Concept, myself, Gerard, thank you, Sarah, thank you, Sharon, thank you, Charlene, thank you, Felicia, thank you, Jacqueline, and of course, thank you, Tara. So hey, people, wow, that was an impassioned roundtable if there ever was one. Gerardo, thank you for everything that you bring to the table too. So let's moving this forward. Let's keep this movement going. And each of you out there, remember, and we just hope that you've enjoyed this and you take something away from it. I'm sure you will. So watch out for episode 8. It's on its way soon. So from all of us here, we're going to give a big cheer and we'll say bye for now. And thank you to everybody. Okay, come on. Woohoo! All right. All right.